The JJK anime is 10 times better than the JJK manga. I've always had the belief that the JJK manga has essentially not been made, but it skyrocketed when the JJK anime basically aired and it got into the popularity that it did. And the reason why JJK was one of, if not the biggest manga of all time when it was releasing, was because of the anime. And I know you're probably saying that's, well, Nighthawk, that's the whole reason why all animes are a thing. Every time you could just look at the charts, when a manga gets an anime, those sales always boost. But that's not what I mean. Mappa has had such a treat on their plate when they got JJK, and it has become their love project. And JJK is so lucky to have Mappa because JJK season 3, or excuse me, I think it was season 2 of Shibuya. Whatever season Shibuya was, Mappa made that into their love project, and that was the greatest thing to ever happen to JJK. And let's get a little into the manga while we're speaking on it. The manga is not good at all. Gege can't draw fights. I've always said that Gege can't choreograph his fights, and whenever I say this, there is always a string of debates and arguments whenever that take is uttered out of my mouth because it's just the craziest take online, I guess. But I sincerely believe that Gege cannot choreograph fights. Gege can't draw fights. The whole reason that I believe the Gojo and Sukuna fight was as big as it was isn't because of how good the fight was. It was because of how built up the fight was in the series. Had nothing to do about the hand-to-hand combat that we were seeing between these two elite fighters in the verse. And I do feel like Gege knew that, and that's why it was as ended as it did. And going into other fights in the manga, if you seriously close out this video and go watch a manga, excuse me, go read a manga fight, and then go watch the anime, bro. It's like you're swimming in a pond and then you go and swim in a luxury like pool. It's so different. It's honestly so. It's like you go to McDonald's versus you go to a Michelin star restaurant. Mappa has truly done glorious things to the JJK anime that the manga just can't replicate. And again, it's a animation versus a book, but that does not excuse how bad the JJK manga is. And I really do feel like the anime is not given its credit that it deserves for what it has done for the manga. And just to further back my point, let's look at graphs. Up on screen, you guys can see a graph of showing the manga sales from when the anime was airing and before the anime aired. And as you can see, following the graph, we are on a slow increase. Second the anime airs, boom, we shoot up to, I believe, around 20 million copies. And then we keep going, 50 million, the movie, the anime movie drops, it peaks. And that's only in 2023. Just imagine what it was in 2025, 2026 when the manga was nearing its end. It is insane how impactful the anime was to the manga. And let's step back from the manga sales because, again, manga sales don't make a manga. We all know this. There's a lot of mangas out there that don't get the sales they deserve. So let's step back from the sales. Let's stop looking at it as a business standpoint and just look at it face-to-face value. So the anime. Both series are obviously critically acclaimed because it is the same series. Just one is an animation, one's in a book. But let's really look at the anime versus the manga. I feel like the anime, and I've spoken about it in lengths with some of my friends that have watched the anime. The way that Mappa takes some of these scenes that are only 3 panels in the manga and just elevate it into a spectacular episode is just uncanny. For example, Maharaga fight. I believe that was a few pages in the manga. Mappa made that into the episode of the year. I'm gonna say that again. Mappa took a few panels from a chapter and made that into the episode of the year. You can't make this up. What Mappa did, not only for JJK, what Mappa's doing for so many animations, that's a whole different story with the Chainsaw Man and the Rize video movie. But again, that got robbed for Film of the Year from the Crunchyroll Awards. But what Mappa is doing for JJK, I feel like does not get enough credit. Let's look into the future to season 3, the Culling Games. Maki episode of the year. And then we fast forward. There's so many bangers after bangers after bangers in the part 1 of the Culling Games. I think it was 13 episodes. The Yuta episode, the one to end the season. Again, so much better than the manga. So much better than the manga counterpart. We will see how they handle the big fights like the Gojo and Sukuna fight. But again, I am not worried at all, as I know it is in good hands, and I am excited to see that. And honestly, let's look at at a different angle. Let's look at what JJK looks like when it isn't drawn by JJK. Let's look at Modulo. As we all know, Modulo, it was a short release. It only spanned around, I think, 20-ish chapters. There's only 3 volumes in Japanese. There will only be 3 volumes in English. So let's look at that. I have read Modulo front to back. I read it when it was weekly releasing, and then of course, I saw the edits and stuff like that. So I was very intact with this series. This wasn't drawn by Gege. It was written by Gege, wasn't drawn by Gege. If you go and look at the art, it is so much better. The fights are so much more fluid. The Maharaga fights, Maharaga, while he does a lot of plot-driven fights, he is also a good character to look at between the 2 different series, because Modulo has Maharaga and it also has Maharaga and JJK. The Maharaga fights in JJK are so much worse than the Maharaga fight in Modulo. And I feel like it is night and day just looking at these 2 different series, just based on the pure art. And it is absolutely incredible how good Modulo was. And it is such a shame that we might never see another series like that, because I believe if they took Modulo and spun it into a longer series, it could have been much more. But unfortunately, they cut it short and only gave us just a little bit. And while, yes, I'm not discrediting the manga in any way, it is a phenomenal manga, and I 100% agree and believe that it deserves all the praise, all the sales, and the amount of cultural impact that it has in both the Western and Japanese culture. But I really do feel like not a lot of people are giving the credit to the anime, because Mappa took JJK, and again, they made it into their love project. And another thing that I want to speak on, we've seen animations kind of get their own little unique spin on the animation style itself. Seen it with One Piece with Toei, and Egghead and stuff like that, when we started seeing the animation change arc to arc. And then we've seen it in JJK. Season 1, believe it or not, from just watching the seasons back to back, you could literally see the progression of the anime style. Was animated by the same company, but once Mappa finally let loose and started doing doing their own creativity, especially through the animation, we get to see a much more fluid and really fight scene esque animation style, which I really do feel like it improves a lot on the fights, and I do feel like that is another reason why the fights in the anime stand out a lot more than they do in the manga. And I don't know if this is just a gay paneling issue, if he just doesn't panel stuff right, if this is just me just not liking Gege's art. I don't know, but I feel like I've always hold this take on the anime versus the manga, and it's honestly incredible how a lot of people don't feel the same way as me. Like, I feel like this is a very general take. When I speak about when I speak to my friends about this, they also agree with me. They're like, yeah, like, we've read the manga, we've watched the anime, and it's night and day between the two. And it's really incredible to me that a lot of people don't hold this take. I don't know if it's just they haven't consumed both forms of media. I don't know what it is. And this really breaks my heart, because I am always a person, whether you're when asked to watch or read an anime or manga, I always say read the manga, because mangas do a lot of things. You're allowed to control the pace at which you consume the story. You're allowed to beyond even that, you could choose the like amount of connection you have with the book when you read it, stuff like that. And I feel like there's such a different experience in holding the physical panels and just looking and just watching stuff like that. And I feel like it kind of eclipses the anime experience, for me at least. And it was such a refreshing take to see an anime be better than what the physical manga was. And that was honestly incredible to me. And I cannot wait to see where Mappa goes with this anime. And again, if you guys made it this far, I am not discrediting Gege's manga at all. I think it is phenomenal, and I think it deserves every amount of praise that it gets. But I do feel like Mappa has done so much for JJK, and not that the anime made the manga at all. Like, the manga did all the walking so the anime could run, but the anime definitely had some impact on how well the manga did post anime airing. And I feel like a lot of people do not give Mappa that credit that they have done with the JJK anime. But that's about it. About all of my rant on the JJK anime vs manga. If you guys haven't, please go watch season 3. It is a phenomenal season, and I cannot wait for core 2 of this season. And I cannot wait to see again what Mappa does with that. And again, guys, if you haven't, please like and subscribe. That would greatly appreciate me. And it tells me what you guys like, what you don't like, stuff like that. And yeah, with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.